Hi guys, I'm Ghost Jones and welcome back to the Ghost Jones YouTube channel. Welcome back to another episode of Web Therapy. So the last time we talked, I basically just kind of went on a little rant about how I was feeling and like why I was so frustrated with everything in life. But like since that video, things have honestly changed and like they've really kind of like changed for the better, which is so weird because like in those moments I felt as though nothing was looking up and nothing was going to work out, right? And everything hasn't changed, but a good bit of things have, like some of my stresses have kind of like gone away, or maybe not fully gone away, but I don't feel as bad about them anymore. Like I'm starting to see some sort of like payoff. So that really kind of like led me to ask myself this question or these questions, like when is it time to like actually give up on something? And how do you know when you just need a break, right? Because like with anything in life, like if it's something that you really truly want, you don't want to give up on it. But there's also times like where you don't give up on something and you keep going with it and it ends up like just truly not working out, or things just like come to a head and you're like, "Oh my God, like I wasted so much time. Like why did I even do this?" And I feel like it's just that's like really, is that not weird to you guys? Like how do we just internally know? So like I was like reading this article where basically it was just like outlining like all of these like reasons or like signs on when you feel like or when you should let something go. And as I'm reading it, I'm just like, I felt all of these things before, and sometimes I still got a positive outcome. Like I still got what I wanted. Like I stayed persistent and it did pay off. So like is this like a subjective thing? Like what is it? So like let's kind of go over like all of like the little bullet points. So like one of them was like, when like the problem is basically like consuming like every aspect of your life. So I feel like that's a good point, or like that's a good telltale sign that something may not be working. But like there have been times where, like I lost my car, and that kind of took over all aspects of my life. Like, how am I going to get to work? How am I going to get to the grocery store? How am I going to get to the doctor? How am I going to get to my haircut? Like, all of those things. But, like, I didn't, like, give up on getting a car or give up on hopping in an Uber. Like, I just kind of, like, kept going. Right. And then I ended up getting a car or getting my car back. If y'all watched one of my other videos. And even at that point, like to this next bullet point, you're not able to visualize like a positive outcome. I did, in my heart of hearts, I felt as though my car was just gone. Like I wasn't going to have it anymore. And like to me that wasn't a good feeling. And I didn't want to give up on the quest for like looking for it, but also like I made preparations to like get ready to buy another car. So like looking at all of those financial aspects, like okay, now I have to like budget in like this car note, and like my insurance is probably going to go up. I don't know if my credit is going to get me the car that I want or at the interest rate that I want. But then like a few days later, I just had this feeling where I was like, okay, dude, just stop. Like, just let it go. Don't think anything of it. Just don't make any sudden movements. And like, literally, probably like a day or two later, the police found my car. And I was so happy that I didn't like take the steps to actually go and like buy another car or try to like finance something, because I'm like, dude, you would have been out of so much money when you could have just waited. Like I could have just been patient. Um Another thing, right? Like there was a time where I was working a job and it honestly was so stressful that it really kind of was like taking over like me, the person. Like I was stressed out all the time. I was tired. I wasn't eating. I had a bad attitude, didn't really want to be around people. And, that wasn't really a good thing. Like, I also felt like, oh my gosh, like, I really want this promotion from these people. I don't think they're going to give it to me. Like, I think that I'm going to be like stuck in this forever. And then I made plans to change, companies, change properties, like do all of these things, like go on all of these interviews. And then, like, suddenly out of nowhere, I ended up like getting the promotion that I wanted and everything. And I was just like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, you put in a lot of time and you really felt as though it was time to walk away and let this thing go. But like ultimately, something good happened. So it's just like, I don't really like, can we really like say that like those are like good telltale signs, or does this just kind of like depend on, the given situation? There's another one in here where it's like you wake up in the morning and you just want to give up. Like, yeah, that's fair. When you're going through something, of course, you do just want to give up. You're just like, oh my God, like I just, not today. Like today just ain't the day. But I mean, you still keep going on about your day. Like, and in some cases, like things do kind of, you you do end up giving up on it and you start to feel better. But like there's been times where I was going through something that I didn't even know was coming. Like there was a time where like I got fired from somewhere and I had literally came to work, like I didn't feel like anything bad was happening to me. Like I didn't feel like any of that. And um I walked in and I walked into like this big old negative thing. Like I had been putting like all of this positive energy into this space and it ended up not working out for me. And like there were no like telltale signs that that was coming. It just kind of sort of like happened and it sucked. Like it did not feel too good. So like there's that. Then I feel like there's some cases where maybe you don't necessarily give up, but like you take some time to like reassess and then rededicate yourself, right? Because like anytime something gets tough, you're going to feel all of those ways. But like if you like just truly believe in yourself and like you have that faith, sometimes it works out. And maybe sometimes like you have to go through these things to kind of just like shift your perspective, or like, yeah, shift your perspective, change the way that you do certain things. So like I just recently got back into my art. And for me, like when stuff happens in life or when I get into like these creative blocks, I will wholeheartedly walk away from creating art. And sometimes in that moment, I do kind of give up on it. I'm like, I'm not doing art no more. Like, that's just not going to be my thing. Like, it hasn't happened yet, all of this stuff. because like I get on the internet and I post my art on the internet, and sometimes it gets a response, sometimes it doesn't. But then I go and I look at these other people who like create things that, I don't think is really that hot, but like they kept going, and like people just kind of like liked it, I guess, or they like boom got like this instant notoriety, and I'm like, oh my god, like this stuff was like mediocre, right? But like now in the current space that I'm in, like I took some time off, and then I just randomly like woke up one day and I was like, you know what? I'm going to create something. And I created actually two things that day, which was pretty nice. I usually never create art that fast. So, like, to me, that was like a good sign. I'm like, oh, wow, like maybe I should keep going with this thing. Because, like, I'll probably, well, if you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll see it posted on my page. I don't want to like do any edits to like, sorry, y'all, I live in the city. So, I mean, there's always going to be noise. Like, to hate it. But, um, what was I saying? Like I posted that art on my page, and then like I actually got like um a lot of like positive DMs, and like it kind of like refueled my fire and made me like actually want to like keep going with this thing. Like I kind of got like this outward validation, which I guess you shouldn't like aspire to have, but it definitely helps when you have support. It definitely helps when, you get some sort of response to, what you're putting out there for the world to see. I mean, as an artist, I definitely am sensitive about my, like Erica Badu said, like that, that phrase is amazing to me. But like now, coming back to it, I'm faster. The art feels a little bit better. Um, which could have just been because of how I felt at the time. Like a lot of times for me, like I can literally look at my art and like see the emotions that I had, but that's because I created it. So hey, whatever. But now like I'm also thinking like, okay, that was good. Like this was like a little bit better of a response. Now I'm like, okay, maybe I can sell this stuff. Like maybe I will like etch out the time to like really just like go super hard and like be creative. Like I was looking up kind of like different ways that I can like sell these things. Um like just kind of like trying to find like websites where like I can post my art just like as a freelance artist, and maybe, get a couple commissions here and there. I don't know. Y'all might start to feel your boy. But in the past, I never thought to do that. So like why now? Like how did I like think of that in this moment? So like to me, that kind of tells me like that break that I took was like needed, and it was time for me to reassess and readjust. And now that I'm here and I'm like rededicated, like I do have like a fresh perspective. I have like a fresh, I don't know, I just feel re-energized to want to like create these things. I also like today, because I'm like, just keep feeding the beast. I went out and I like bought this picture frame, because like my whole thing is I have some art in my home that I didn't, create myself, but I kind of do want to have like my own like drawings and like my own paintings around my house. And I've been in this house for 2 years, and I think I only have one, two, yeah, I have like 5 pieces of art on the wall, and only two are mine. But now I'm just like, okay, don't just stop at the two. Make it three, make it four, make it five, make it 10. Keep going. Start selling this stuff. Make you some extra cash. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm like kind of like striking while the iron is hot. But was the iron not hot then? Like, what was the deal? What was the problem with that? Like, before? Mm. I don't know. Um, it also made me think about this too. The same way, like how like we change over time, we have to kind of expect like the world to change and people to change too. So like was it, just like before I say this, think about it. How many artists like in history have we read about and learned about who like created all of these cool paintings, sculptures, things like that while they were alive, and no one appreciated it. Nobody cared. And then when the artist dies or something traumatic happens, like Kanye through the wire, it's like, oh my God, everybody is like so appreciative of that. So I say that because, like, maybe the time isn't always right, but maybe don't give up, but take a break. So, like, doing don't give up? I don't know. Even like in relationships, like, there's people that have been, married for 20 plus years, like, growing old together, knowing each other since high school, born together. I don't know, what city you live in or what state. Sometimes that's okay. Um, and I'm like, well, surely you don't get to that point on a bed of roses. I'm sure something has happened, like something where you felt as though maybe you should have left it alone, like maybe you should have walked away, but they didn't. And like, I mean, they're happy now. So, like, were those things just important at the time and maybe in the long run, you know, it wasn't really going to matter? But how do we know when like the good outweighs the bad? How do we know when the long term goal is much greater than what's happening right now? I guess you don't. I guess there's like no guide. There's no list. There's no way to know. Like you just have to know, like in your heart and soul. Mm, I think you do. But also, do you really? Because like going back to that whole firing situation, I thought I was gonna get a promotion soon because I was putting in work at another location and I was having so much faith. Like, yes, there were things that happened that weren't favorable, but we worked through them. And I thought I was on the up and up. And then randomly, everything just comes to a halt. Like, at that time, which I'm kind of like glad it did because I don't think that um that was really going to be the best course of action for my life. But at the time, I was like, okay, this is it. I'm going to commit to this thing and I'm going to reach this goal. And it just has to happen. Like, I put in like all the time and the effort and it didn't. Hmm. I guess the world may never know. I guess you just have to trust yourself. I mean, the worst, like what my friend Trudy always tells me is like the worst thing that can happen is you can go in there and die. So I guess maybe that's just how you have to live your life. But do you really want to? I mean, because like the Bible does talk about like long suffering, but I don't want to suffer for long. How long is too long? Mm-mm. If you guys have any advice on that, or like if you've dealt with anything like that's like similar to my situation, or if you share like these same thoughts, like y'all have to let me know because like I cannot be the only person that like thinks about this. Like, because all of this is crazy. I'm just a 20-year-old boy. What is the key to life? Where is it? I will buy the key. Tell me where it is, and is it on sale? But that's all that I kind of have for you guys today. Hopefully, the next time that I come back, I will have this. The next time I do come back, I will have this filled out. this piece of artwork will be completed, hopefully more, and I will share with you guys the story behind the art that I made, because while I did do it and it reignited my love for my art, there were also some things that happened that weren't so good, but they kind of were the cause of it. And maybe I should kind of like touch on that subject more. Does the origin story like really even matter? Is it just solely about the journey? I feel like I'm just rambling at this point. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say, but I will talk to you guys next time. Peace.